Good afternoon, fam. This is Miss Diva Trucker 43 coming to you again. And today I have with me Mr. Kevin Williams, and he is a experienced driver with KLLM. And I just wanted him to share some brief information with you about our company and what he does, and just give you a little bit experience, a little bit of information about being an experienced driver from his perspective, because I am a rookie. I only been here a couple of months, so I did want you to hear some information from an actual experienced driver. And Mr. Williams, tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been driving? Period. As far as a professional driver.
I've been a professional driver now for about 15 years this year. Um, Started off from local, doing LTL, running doubles,
Okay.
and so doing local deliveries. Branched out into, moved out into doing the LTL, which is basically short runs, home every day. From there, I went out to a company where I went out a little further. I ran True Southeast. With that, I stayed further south. I live in Atlanta. I stayed everything from North Carolina on down to Florida. I came out over the road actually about 8 years ago. I started going over the road.
Okay.
So I've been from north to south, from east to west, from North Dakota to Florida, from California to haven't been to Maine, but I've been
Okay.
all the way up to Vermont.
Okay. And how long have you been with KLLL?
3.5 years.
Okay. What made you come to KLLL?
Had a nice lease purchase program. Actually ran into a former coworker from the company that I was with, and he talked about this company. I did a little bit of investigation, and I came over here. I like what I saw, so I came on over.
Okay. And you are a lease purchase operator. Yeah. That is not on over the road, that is not on miles, correct? I'm on miles. But you're on what is called regional.
Right.
Okay. And tell me about that. What does that mean?
Regional again is because of the way the country is divided up. I'm Southeast regional. Many people misinterpret regional to mean that you'll just stay in the South, or you'll stay in the Midwest, or you'll stay in the that geographical area of states surrounding where you are. Actually, what regional really is that's where your home base is.
Okay.
So if your home base, for instance, my home base is in Morrill, Georgia. Uh, Pretty much they like to bring me back to Morrill, Georgia when I come out, but I've gone, like I said, as far as Vermont and out to Texas. Okay. With this company running Southeast region. I've gone as far north as Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Okay.
With that, which that would be kind of the Midwest regional or Mid East, whatever it is, Mid South East regional up there. So your regional is pretty much, I like to describe it as that's your home base. If your home base is in that city or that particular state, that's where they like for you to come back to, because that's where the freight that they're running, they meet you in that area.
Okay. Now on regional with KLLM, right? I get paid per mile. I get paid per mile. And I get paid 88 cents per mile. On regional, it's different. You get paid a percentage pay, correct?
72%.
So you get 72% of the load.
I get 72% of the load after cost. What that means is that when the company goes into the customer
Okay.
and they settle in on a price, the first thing the company is going to do, and any company does, is they take their money off the top.
Okay.
So, for an example, would be $1,000 load. KLLM may take 300 off the top. Then I would get 72% of
the $700. Okay. Okay.
And then they would give fuel surcharge, which is supposed to be based on the average price of fuel around the country. Okay. So that can vary.
So running on percentage, you're not mile based. So What's your average as far as mileage that you normally running off a percentage?
I
It
can
could
run
be
anywhere from 2,200 to I've run as much as 3,400 in a
okay.
week.
Okay, it just depends on the loads that you
Right,
choose
depending
to
on where I'm
take.
going.
On regional, on Southeast, are you forced dispatch or
I like to say the Southeast regional drivers, we're not forced dispatch, but we're kind of glorified company drivers. And I say it that way because the freight coming out of there, that's what they need to run. That's what you signed up for. You may turn down a load that you may not consider to be either safe for you, not enough revenue for you. Um, you just don't want it, which that's another area in itself. But they need to get that freight moved.
okay?
And there are no company drivers, so they're dependent on us. So we're kind of like glorified company drivers. We're just paying for the equipment.
Okay, okay,
Okay, so
okay,
as long as you're paying for the equipment, you know you need to make your payment, and you need to make money. So you don't want to get caught in turning down loads because you just don't like it or somebody told you something. You got to know what you're doing.
okay. As far as your lease here, how many vehicles have you? Is this your second lease, right?
Yes,
So you turned in and you got the 2015
Volvo 780
Volvo
automatic.
7.
Yeah, yeah, boy.
I'm gonna need you to calm down. You got the Volvo 780 automatic, and how are you enjoying
Yeah, boy.
your truck?
Yeah, boy. I love it. It has, I like space, cabinet space. The room, it has a dump switch for getting from up under trailers. It has a bunk heater,
Okay.
so I don't have to run my truck at night.
What about fuel? Is there a difference between the
My truck is
fuel?
pretty new,
Okay.
uh, so it has to be broken in. Right now, I'd say I'm averaging about 6.2 miles a gallon,
Okay.
which is
Another
not bad.
thing with the Volvos, as far as the Freightliners, I was told they're bigger on the outside. So does that have any impact on, maneuvering or your
Freightliners,
weight?
yes, Freightliners are better, have a better turning radius
Okay.
than a Volvo.
Okay.
You can make tighter turns with a Freightliner that you can't make with a Volvo. As far as weight, Freightliner, I think would average empty, just a tractor would be about 34,000 pounds. I'm not sure that number.
Mm-hmm.
Volvos are a little bit heavier.
Heavier. Okay. So
Right.
you have to watch your weight
Well,
more so.
if you put your fifth wheel at the right place, it's not a load you shouldn't be able to carry unless the freight is overweight.
Okay.
You should be able to carry. I've carried since I've had this truck. My heaviest load has been 44,005,
Okay.
and pulled right along. I scaled it with a full tank. I was not overweight.
Okay. Um, being a experienced driver for as long as you've been driving, and I think you said like 3 years with KLM, but total experience of 15 years. What advice would you give for someone that was interested in becoming a driver, as new being in this industry? What advice would you give them as far as getting their CDL?
I would suggest to them that they first make sure this is something they want to do. If you're a young man or a woman coming in and you don't have a family, you have a lot of opportunities and there's a lot of things you can do for yourself.
Okay.
If you're a young man or a woman coming out here and you have a family, i.e., your husband or wife, and you have children at home, you really need to make sure your home is in proper order.
And you have
By that I mean the communication lines, the complete understanding of what it's going to take to be out here over the road. Excuse me. You can't take. I had a supervisor tell me a long time ago. I don't take my work home and I don't bring my home to work.
okay.
Out here on this road, if you have a family at home, you're always going to be thinking about what's going on at home. You're going to be getting phone calls from your wife, your husband, maybe your children, depending on their age, aunts, uncles, just the whole gambit, and even some friends. If you're not secure in your relationship, I would really think about what you're doing or coming to a company like this where you're going to have to be gone for a couple of weeks at a time.
Right, right.
You can't allow your home life to interfere with your focus out here on the road. It's a big safety issue, and I've seen guys get into wrecks coming out here, and they're too concerned about. They're more concerned about what's happening at home, whatever their personal problems are, than what they were doing driving.
Okay.
And that's unsafe not only for that driver, but it's unsafe for the people that are surrounding them, other cars or trucks around them, because you can easily lose focus.
Okay. When what about experienced drivers that come to KLLM? What are some of the pros that you see as being a lease purchase operator?
If you don't have the money to come into to go and buy your own truck and to make a start in this business, lease purchase would be the way to go.
Okay.
It does a couple of things for you. With this company, you got a walk away lease. You can walk away at any time and not affect your credit.
Okay.
Some companies you go into a lease and it will affect your credit. So you have to do your homework on that to see what kind of lease they're offering. Secondly, what kind of payments they expect at the end. Is it a straight lease or is it a lease purchase? There is a difference.
Okay. What's
If
the
you
difference between a lease and a lease
if
purchase?
you're doing a straight lease, you're just renting the truck
Okay.
for however period of time that the company specifies. If you're doing a lease purchase, then you have a time from the date you sign the contract to the time the contract ends, and the truck is yours. Be careful to make sure you understand if there's a balloon buyout or balloon payment.
Do we have a balloon?
$1.
$1.
Ain't a dollar.
$1.
Ain't a dollar.
Okay.
Okay. Uno.
Okay.
No dos. Uno.
Okay. So we can no money down, no credit check, walk away lease, $1 buyout,
Hmm.
and you get in your truck. And most likely you have a choice of getting a brand new vehicle.
Most of the leases that they have are going to be a period of 5, maybe 6 years, depending on what if you whether you get a truck that's already been broken in and used, like my first truck, or you get a brand new truck like the one that I just got.
Okay.
So let's say you've got 6 years to pay for that truck. During those 6 years, with this company, you've got a lot of with a new truck, you've got a lot of things that you won't have going out there with buying your own truck.
Okay.
I.e., they're taking out a maintenance fund, which they want you to bill to a certain number. When that truck breaks down, you have money in that
Money
maintenance
to
fund
cover it.
to take care of, right, to take care of those expenses.
Okay.
Whereas you go out here buying your own truck, and I really hate to hear guys tell people that have no knowledge about this business, man, don't go on a lease purchase, just go buy you a truck. That's a blanket statement.
Right.
Because there's too many other things that need to be looked at, need to be considered. You don't go into a strong man's house not knowing what you're going to find when you get in there.
Correct.
That's scripture, and I didn't write it. It's a principle that you must understand when you're getting into anything. If you understand the principles of the way the job or company is operating, you'll be better equipped to understand what you're going to have to deal with or to deal with things on the road.
What do you see as being a challenge why a lot of not a lot but some people fail at lease
They're not
purchase?
focused. They're not focused. They are listening to. You have people in this business who are, I call hens, or to quote an old phrase, they're talking loud and not saying nothing.
Okay.
If you're a rookie coming into this business, you need to be careful who you're listening to and what they're telling you. Because you have some drivers that want to come out here and they'll tell you these stories. You have no way of verifying these stories, first of all. And a lot of them are not concerned about you succeeding, they're concerned about them succeeding. They get you out of the way, good.
Okay.
Or if they can impress you and you go and do something, which is, if you notice, you use the word advice in the beginning.
Correct.
I don't give advice. I don't take advice.
Okay.
I'll give you my suggestion, my opinion, or share with you my experience.
Okay.
You take out of any one of those what you may need to use in your particular situation. It's the same thing in talking to some experienced drivers. Women need to understand that a lot of men out here are still that good old boy. They don't think women should be out here driving. There's a lot of women out here drive better than some guys, and they've been out here for some years. A lady who I've not met personally, but she just went over 1,000,000 miles on her Facebook page. She just went over 1,000,000 miles. Congratulations, kudos to her. I'm proud of her for that.
She work for KLLM?
No. You have to understand that there's things in this business you're going to learn. You can't be complacent. At the same time, you need to understand who it is you're talking to. And everybody you meet, you're not going to know.
Okay.
So you have to take some things with a grain of salt. If it's something you hear useful, do your homework. Just like a teacher wrote on the blackboard and told you, here's the problem and here's the way to solve it. She never told you certain things that you had to dig into that book to find out.
Okay.
If you recall English, math, or whatever subject, they gave you enough information on the blackboard and in their conversation, but you still had to go and dig a little deeper. Well, it's the same thing in any business. It's the same thing in coming into a lease purchase or coming into the trucking industry. Regardless of what I tell you or what you may hear me say even now, do your homework. Do you have your due diligence so you're.
Mr. Wayne, we're going to finish up our interview, and I am so appreciative of you taking your time to talk to me about lease purchase, about regional, about percentage, so that people will be able to understand. Um, where would you say would be a good time to get into lease purchase? Would you recommend someone to get into it right away? Would you recommend how much time would you think? It just depends on the individual. What are your thoughts about lease purchase and company?
Do your homework, as I said earlier. Do
Okay.
your homework first.
Okay.
Look at the company's program. What are they offering for their lease purchase? And understand whether it's a lease or it is a lease purchase. Do your homework. There's no particular time. The time is based on what your particular needs or desires are at the individual time.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
You take you take that information. That's the first thing. Is there something you want to do? Do your homework. Do your due diligence so you know what you're getting into. Whatever time it is, winter, spring, summer, or fall. And then make your decision based on that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you so much for talking with me. And this has been a lot of people want to know where I get my knowledge from, where do I get the information from, and who do I talk to? Well, here he is. This is Mr. Kevin Williams. Like I told you, he is an experienced driver. He's been driving for over 13 years, and he's been with KLLM for over 3.5 years. So he is my go-to person. He's my mentor. He's my, you say you're not an advisor, but you my mentor, my coach. I can call you my coach. Can I call you my coach? Okay. He's my coach. He's my mentor. He's someone that he's a go-to person that if I have any questions about the loads that I take, about how I make my money, about my pickups, my delivery, anything that I have, I'm able to pick up the phone and call him. He's also, if you're interested in maybe asking him some questions about KLLM Southeast region, about the regional driver, regional section of KLLM, or percentage pay, because that's what he does. Hit him up on Facebook. I'll put his link to his Facebook page underneath. It's Kevin L. Williams. And there are some groups that what groups on Facebook would you suggest people in trucking get to familiarize themselves with as far as good truck driving groups?
I think one of the groups that I really that you get a lot of information to get an understanding would be Black Truckers Inc. BTI.
Okay.
You've got a lot more serious drivers over there that put out information. I'm a member of several groups,
Okay.
but some of the people in BTI are not in the other groups. At least they don't post like they do in BTI.
Okay.
You have some very, very knowledgeable, much more knowledgeable than I am,
So BTI is what? Black Truckers
Black Truckers Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Black
Okay.
Truckers Inc. You can find them. You do the search up there. You have rates per mile,
Rates per
and
mile.
rates
Okay.
per mile is one that can help you better understand the rates if you are ready to go and step off into having your own company. Um, you have one that rates and lanes. I think is the site, what tells you about the lanes. You have to understand that there are lanes to every area of the region that you're in. Even that region has lanes where you can make more money or you'll make less money, or the freight is better in this lane as opposed to this lane.
And
That's
that's
the difference
rate
between
per lane. Is
yeah.
that what's called? Okay. Okay.
That's the difference between I-81 and I-95.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
depending on the lane because they're the freight may be better on one side or the other, and that's a different lane coming
Okay.
out of the north.
Okay. So those three groups.
Those are the three that I would recommend for drivers to look at to find out information. Now, you have some members on some of the other groups that I'm a part of who could probably give you, excuse me, give people information, but have a good one. BTI, rates, rates per lane, the rates and the rates per lane
Okay.
are the three that are to me more.
That will give you information.
And I would also suggest that you just go onto the search engine up there in the Facebook and look and see. You can put in trucker groups,
Okay.
and there are a whole lot more groups out here that I'm not. I mean,
There's a lot of trucker groups,
there's a
but we
lot of
want the
them.
groups that are going to give you some information and that's going to, if you have any questions, to be able to answer those questions for you and to give you the correct and the accurate information on what it really is about. And like I say, I appreciate you so much for taking your time to sit with me and speak to me about percentage pay, about Southeast region, about your experience, and also about here working at KLLM. And thank you so much for doing that. And family, like I say, I'm gonna be bringing you videos, letting you know more and more about what we do and how we are out here. And if you have any questions, like I say, I'm gonna put his link below of his Facebook page. Go over there and join that. He'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have about percentage, about KLLM. Just hit him up. And I want to thank y'all so much. I love you, family. Peace, love, joy, and happiness. And we will see you next week, baby.
Holla.